Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to this episode of Jim's 5am Club. I got up this morning. It's the day after the election, just feeling a little bit down, to tell you the truth, after seeing the results come through last night. I guess the writing was on the wall, but it's we all live in hope, and I guess to a certain extent our futures are going to be a little bit different from tomorrow onwards, under a new leadership, under a new government, and we'll see where it takes us, where it leads us. But in a complicated world with a lot of complicated and complex issues, it's going to be interesting to see how we fare. Anyway, as I said, I decided to leave home at 6 o'clock this morning, get in my car and go for a drive. And today it's destination Jervis Bay. I'm heading down the south coast. Didn't have anything keeping me in Sydney. My wife's overseas at the moment. My children have other things happening today, and my grandchildren. So I thought I'd test my luck and try and outrun the rain and head south to Jervis Bay, to St George's Basin, and go via Robertson, Kangaroo Valley, and do the scenic route. And whilst on the scenic route, take the opportunity to do a couple of vlogs along the way, so that in the tradition of Jim's 5am Club, I can showcase and highlight the beauty of this country that we live in, and allow those who are homebound today, those who are homebound in the future, to be able to vicariously experience this particular moment, this particular journey, so you can be by my side and with me, where we can, as I said, see and be together, and also share with each other a moment and a message of empowerment in the term and through the use of a book summary. So today's book summary is something that we can use in business, and it's something that we can use in our personal lives as well. And it's a book entitled Click Moment. The Click Moment, by an author known as Frans Johansson. Wow, the bike rider riding through this rain at the moment, which is interesting. But we're on our way now to Fitzroy Falls. Don't know if I'm going to stop there or not. Depends, of course, on the weather. But we'll hang a left here on Nowra Road, and as I said, we're going to take the that's interesting. It says that the road is closed ahead. Don't know what that means. I may have to come back and go via another road. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see where this road or this journey takes us. As I said, nobody's chasing me, nobody's waiting for me, and I'll just take it kilometre by kilometre and do whatever I can to enjoy this gift of a moment in my life. So this book here, as we said, is an interesting book, and it's a book which talks about the importance of understanding understanding and appreciating the randomness of the life that we live in. And to know that God has a plan for each and every one of us. We need to take action, of course, and that not everything that we do will bear fruit. Not everything that we do will lead us to our destiny and the destination that we want to head to. Just like me now today, there are signs in the road that said this road may be closed. So even though I'm planning on going to Nowra via this road, it's going to take me on a detour. How awesome is that? And it just goes to once again show that even though I planned to get to Nowra via that road, there are other plans in place. God has other plans. So life can be completely random. So I'm being redirected along another road. But I'll eventually, hopefully, get to where I'm hoping to get. And that is, I'm going to go down to Jervis Bay and have a look around there, and hopefully do a vlog and put up my drone. But along the way, whilst we're getting there, we're going to enjoy each other's company and do a vlog or two and go through a book summary. So today's book summary, as I mentioned, is entitled The Click Moment by Frans Johansson. And it's a book summary that focuses on the randomness, the complete randomness of our lives, and to know that things just happen for no reason at all, but to appreciate and embrace the fact that there is randomness at play. And even though some people seem to think that A plus B plus C will lead to D, what the author here is saying is that even the best plans that you may have in your life will not deliver the outcomes that you appreciate. And even though you may invest tremendous amounts of money and time in a particular outcome, just like we saw Fat Boy Palmer invest $100 million in his political campaign, what we're able to see is that it has amounted to absolutely nothing. Not only did it amount to nothing directly, so he didn't get a direct outcome, the leader of his party, Craig Kelly, was not voted in. So he's a person who's waking up today with an absolute nothing, knowing that he's had $100 million invested in the what's the word I'm looking for? He's had $100 million invested in his conspiracy theories, in the misinformation that they've come up with. But it just goes to show that Australians are not gullible. People aren't stupid. But people wanted change regardless. So I guess to a certain extent one could say that indirectly Clive Palmer has facilitated and leveraged disruption by spreading his fear, uncertainty and doubt, which may have impacted the outcome of this election result, but it hasn't given Clive Palmer the outcome, I don't think, that he desired. So this book is all about seizing opportunity, and knowing that opportunity presents itself serendipitously and randomly to different people, people who least expect it, but people who are called to act on it and make the most of it and use it as best they can. So a lot of us have read, a lot of us have heard a thing called the 10,000 hour rule, where some people seem to think that if you invest a lot of time and effort in a particular skill or a particular dream, then it will eventually come your way. But we know there are many examples of people who are leaders in their field, who have invested lots and lots of time and money in their pursuits that have led to nothing, that have not created the opportunity, that have not created the break, that have not allowed them to be discovered in a way that they were hoping and that they were expecting, because as this author says, that sometimes things just happen, just come out of nowhere when you least expect it. And great people are just people like you and I, people who are minding their own business, people who are curious, people who are just going on their daily life chores and meandering through life, and end up being presented by an opportunity which ends up dramatically changing their lives in a way which they never thought possible. Very similar to what's happening to me today. I got up, just got in the car, started driving, expecting to go to a particular place and end up somewhere else. So not quite sure which direction I go to. I think what I'll do is I'll head to Robertson, and at least if I head to Robertson, I will know that I'll be able to get back down to Kiama and Nowra via Robinson. So let's keep on going along the path that we're going on. So as we said, this book shows us that there are things that are happening at play, and that people get diverted in a way, and sometimes you just need to accept a diversion, to accept that life is random, and to know that along that path other paths will open up, other paths will show up, other things, other opportunities will eventuate, and it's up to each and every one of us to grasp them with our two hands, with our 10 fingers, wrap our 10 fingers around those opportunities, and with our two arms to press them, to draw them close and hug them tightly to our bodies and make the most of them. So this book then identifies 3 things that we need to be aware of, 3 things that we need to appreciate and to try and leverage and to focus on from a business and a personal perspective. Because as we said, this book can help us from a business perspective, but it can also help us from a personal perspective. I just can't believe how beautiful this country drive is. But once again, I wouldn't have been able to experience it if I didn't get diverted. So the author talks about the fact that there are click moments that we need to be cognizant of and open to. Click moments that just happen from a random perspective. These are complex forces that we need to work with and to embrace where possible. The author says that we need to be aware that these click moments also require us to be in a position to make purposeful bets, to take a risk, to have a crack, and to not just close our eyes and ignore them. Now, God will present us with the gifts of our talents, and He'll always and also present us with the gift of opportunity that will cross our paths, and it's up to us to use those talents, those God-gifted talents that in many ways come naturally, in many ways are honed, shaped and skilled through our efforts. But sometimes it doesn't matter how many gifts you have, if you don't get the opportunities to use those gifts and to leverage those gifts, then those gifts may be wasted, or maybe with the wrong person, the person who doesn't randomly appear in a place where the opportunity also randomly appears at the same time. And the author says that we need to use and make purposeful bets, and to allow, this is very, very important, to allow complex forces, the many complex forces, to work its magic, and to bring these things together, and to allow them to flourish, to blossom, to bloom, and to become explosive growth events in our lives. I look back over my life, and just the partners, the people that we meet in our lives, just happen randomly. I remember at university, I was sitting in a lecture in the Merriweather complex at Sydney University, and I remember the day where this fellow started walking down the stairs. I was in the lecture room. I think it was Economics 1 or Political Economy. It was one of those lectures that I was doing, and this fellow was coming down wearing boots, jeans, he had a moustache, he looked cool, and I told him, "Hey mate, come over here, sit down here, there's a spare space here." I think the lecture had started, and he came into the lecture theatre a little bit just after it was about to start, or it had started, and because I had a seat next to me, and I was new at university as well, I offered him a seat, to which he sat down and we started chatting. His name was Terry Vallis, and from that day we ended up becoming great friends. We've had a lifetime of friendship since that time, and I just look back and say to myself, well, how random was that? That not only did we become friends, but we also, there's police in front of me, so I'll just slow down, but we also became life friends, and he ended up being Greek, to my amazement, because he didn't even look Greek in any way, shape or form, but he was Greek, and he introduced me to a lot of his Greek friends who he was working with at university. So there you go, an amazing sort of example of how you can just randomly come into contact with people, and that interaction can actually shape your life. So this road seems to be taking me back to Wollongong, whereas I actually need to go to Nowra. Let's see if there's a turn off to Nowra at some point in time, but I'll continue my way along this road but eventually we'll end up getting to where I want to get to. It's not worrying me, but we'll find a way. We'll always figure it out, and we'll always find a way. So the key message from this book, the key message from this author, is that success for many people is absolutely random, and we need to appreciate that and to welcome that, and to not be bittered, not to be bitter, knowing that we may not become the full potential that we are hoping. Our children may not become as successful as we're hoping, because success is random, and it's all about the stars aligning and God's will being done on earth as it is in heaven. So basically the author here is reminding us to basically not take life too seriously, and to do whatever we can whenever we can, and to accept the outcomes that come our way. And he gives us an example of how random life can be and how random success can be, where he talks us through and gives us the story of Bill Bowerman, who was a simple athlete. He was a coach and ended up becoming a very successful person. And fate, here we go, I can get to Kiama via this road here, so there you go. I've found an option, I've found a way, because as we know, sooner or later opportunity will always come our way, for those who know where they're going, and for those who've got their wits about them. So Bill Bowerman, on that fateful day, was in the kitchen of his home, and his wife was standing there making waffles using a waffle iron and waffle batter. She would pour the batter onto the waffle iron, allow it to cook, and then she'd open the waffle iron, grab the waffle and place in some more batter, and just do it over and over again. And then she'd freeze the waffles and use them later on for dessert. So Bill Bowerman was watching his wife, and just happened to have a click moment at that point in time, where he said to himself, what would happen if I placed rubber in that waffle iron and molded it, and it cooled down, and it would be a molded piece of rubber. So you know where we're going here, and you probably don't know who Bill Bowerman is, but Bill Bowerman was the co-founder of the behemoth corporation known as Nike. So that click moment was the moment where Bill Bowerman had the idea of taking another substance other than waffle batter, by taking rubber and molding it, and using that molded substance, that molded output, as the sole for an athletic shoe. So that moment, that click moment, that moment in time was the beginning of the first athletic shoe. A technology that shaped and changed the world of athletics, changed all of our worlds, changed many people's worlds, and made many people superstars, made many people billionaires and leaders in their sport, enabling them to maximise their potential and to save their health, to enable them to play sport for many years and to be at their very peak during those periods of athletic prowess. So it just goes to show us that randomness, that success can become very random, and it takes a moment, just a heartbeat, just a synapse of the brain to capture something that can transform the world and can transform your world and other people's world. So success can be completely random and very unpredictable. So you don't know what's going to work, and you don't know what's going to take off. And I'm often talking to my my stockbroker Tim, and we're often musing and talking about the idea of just trying to identify and place ourselves in front of opportunities that may have explosive growth, and just letting the opportunity take its course, just letting the market take its course. But it's important to understand that this author continues to tell us that whilst success is random and completely unpredictable, and we don't know what's going to happen and what's going to work and what's not going to not work, you do need to take action, and you do need to do something in order to actualize and to catalyze and to activate that opportunity. You just can't be sitting on the couch, continually sitting on the couch and being lazy and not doing anything and expect magic to happen. So the two things need to come together: opportunity, action, and of course talent. But hard work doesn't necessarily create the opportunity, and the hard work doesn't create the click moment for everything. But sometimes having the skill, having the time, being in the right place and time, and having that click moment can just happen at a random point in time. But you need to be able to identify it. You need to be able to harness it. You do need to be able to leverage it and use it. So the author here in the call to action says that we are all invited to bring more randomness into our lives and to not fight it, not resist it, and to be open to change, to improvement, and to know that the fickle finger of fate, as they used to say on Rowan's Laugh-In, a comedy show, comedy program with Goldie Hawn and many others back in the 70s, where they said that some things just happen randomly. I just can't not say it over and over again, because we see it all the time, that people get discovered, things just happen, people become billionaires overnight by having a crack, pushing an idea, and that idea being welcomed, and it takes off in people's lives. So in business, there are no rules to guarantee success, and there's no rigid path. Just like in our lives, there's no rigid path. There are many athletes who train just as hard as each other. There are many people who are educating themselves and reading books and doing things just as hard as each other, if not harder than each other. And yet, the randomness of life will celebrate one person or two people. and the other 1,000 will go unrewarded. I remember years ago as a young boy going to the entrance with my father, with my uncles, and going fishing. And you'd be lined up on the shores of the waterway, of the estuary, casting your line into the water with bait. And we'd all have similar sort of rigs, similar sort of outfits, similar sort of fishing rods. And yet some people would be catching more fish, other people would be rewarded with a massive big fish, and many others, hundreds of others, would be just getting bites and not catching anything at all. And you know, you think that by knowing more, by studying more, that you'd increase your chances and you'd be rewarded more handsomely. But the bottom line is that you've got to have your fishing line with the baited hook in the water to start with, and then you need a fish to be going past, a big fish to be going past, and to happen to see or smell your bait and put it in its gob, and the hook has to set in that fish's mouth to catch it. So we're reminded that this thing happens in many ways completely randomly. You know, the big fish isn't surrounding every bait, and you can cast too far, too short. It just happen to land in the right channel where the fish is swimming up at the right time. And not all fish are hungry at the right time. The fish could be going past and it not feeling hungry and not wanting to eat your bait. So what I'm trying to emphasize here is that it's all in many ways random, and doesn't matter what you do, it may not impact in a positive way your outcome unless a number of things happen at the same time. Just like a boss of mine, Greg Gleason, told me when I was working at IBM. He says, Jim, I can sign your promotion. Now I can put you forward and recommend you for the next job. But you need to have a lot of people wanting you to succeed in order for you to be a success in an organisation. It's just not up to you. It's just not up to me. You know, you need to be in the right place at the right time to impress the right leader, to build a rapport with the leadership team. And yes, I can create opportunities for you, but you need to capture those opportunities. You need to leverage those opportunities, but those opportunities need to happen at the right time and place for the people to want to see you, to observe you, to notice you, in order for you to be on their radar and to lead you to further growth and success. So we all need these click moments to be in our lives, and these click moments don't happen. You can't plan these click moments, you can't create these click moments, but you can leverage them, is what the author is saying. And as we said, these click moments happen in a heartbeat. They happen in a synapse of your brain where one connects with another. So one neuron connects with another, forming an idea, and that idea creates the basis of hundreds of other ideas. It's able to blossom, to flourish, and to create other opportunities in both your brain, your mind, your life, your career, as well as others, where you collaborate, you cooperate, and work together to build something which is far greater than the sum of its parts. So there are other examples that the author talks about where Branson, the author of many books and the founder of Virgin Airlines, yes, he was smart, yes, he was energetic, but once again, he had a click moment. He had to get somewhere. By plane, and his flight was cancelled, and he had to go and see a girlfriend, and his desire to get to his girlfriend in a particular country got him thinking about how he could get there. And he had a brilliant thought. He says, why don't I just organise a private charter? Why don't I just charter a flight and at the same time advertise tickets and try and fill that flight with other people? And as fate goes and how one thing leads to another, he was able to charter that flight, not having the money to pay for that whole flight, but he took a gamble, saying, I'll have a go. If I can't come up with the money, I'll just cancel the flight and somehow find a way of paying the penalty, the cancellation fee, and then just getting on with life. But he was able to carry through, and through his advertising was able to find people who were also in a desperate need to get to that destination, given that the flight was cancelled. There were other people who had an interest. So he sold tickets, and I'm not sure if he made a profit from that venture, but what it did do was it provided him with the idea that there is opportunity, there is a way of making money by booking charter flights and selling tickets and advertising tickets through different channels, and doing it as a business idea. So that's what Richard Branson did to start his magnificent path to stardom and entrepreneurship. Because what he said was that when you start combining ideas from intersecting fields, it creates many other opportunities. And then, of course, just like Richard Branson, you need to make the purposeful bets. And an entrepreneur is a person who will jump off a cliff, and before he hits the ground is able to assemble a plane around him and fly. And as we've learnt with Richard Branson, not only to assemble the plane as he's falling from the cliff, but to also fill it with paying passengers and make a profit out of it and build a $1 billion business along the way. So taking purposeful bets, having a crack, taking a risk is all about what this book is about. And we build our wisdom, we build our knowledge along the way. So we've got to understand that the harder it is for you, the more challenging it is for you. You've got to understand that the more challenging, if not more challenging or harder it is going to be for somebody else. So it's these hard things in life, what Richard Branson is saying, the things that really scare the living daylights out of you in terms of a business idea, and where you say to yourself, how the hell am I going to do this? How am I going to survive this? How am I going to make money out of this? You've got to understand that if that scares the living daylights out of you, it's probably scaring the living daylights out of everybody else who has had the same idea. So you're not going to have very much competition, and you're not going to have people who are going to be in a position to be competing against you to steal your lead and your proactivity and your steps. So you're creating yourself a niche and gaining valuable experience and learning from your mistakes in a situation where there are other people who wouldn't have the courage to give it a go for various reasons, but for the reasons that I've illustrated earlier. So the message from this book is to don't worry, continue along your path, because as Marie Forleo says in her book, Everything is Figure-Outable. You know, as you move along the path, and just like now, the path opens up, you can see further. You've got a greater perspective, and you can make decisions to help you get to the next path, to the next window of opportunity, to the next step. So don't worry. Just continue going along the path, and the path will open up, the opportunities will open up, and you will figure out a way. We humans are teleological in nature. We are ingenious. We are inventive. And once we are posed a problem, we will find a way of solving it and getting through it over, under, and around it. It's guaranteed. So just keep on going, keep on having faith in your ability, and you will get there eventually in the end. The author also reminds us that not everything about being an entrepreneur is glamorous. It's hard work, it's pressure, and in some cases it's not worth going through the toil to win a small pot of gold at the end. But sometimes the rewards can be manifold, can be manyfold, can be huge. But always remember that not everybody's going to be rewarded handsomely. Just spare a thought today for the leader of the Liberal Party, Scott Morrison. Politics is a thankless task. You can dedicate your whole life. You can be a bulldozer. You can be great at what you do. You can develop programs and solutions that save people's jobs and save people's livelihoods. But at the end of the day, you may be on the outer, and your efforts are not rewarded as well as that they could have been rewarded. And you may be scratching your head one day going, that wasn't worth all of the effort. So I guess the invitation, the call to action is just keep on going. Keep on understanding that randomness happens, and ideas can make you a millionaire, a billionaire. But you need to do things and not to be sitting there doing nothing. To take those risks, to have those purposeful bets. You've got to have a crack at the property market. You've got to have a crack at the share market. You're not going to become wealthy in Australia, at least, by not having a go, by not having a foot in the water, by not being heavily invested and deeply involved in your investments. So I'll continue on my path here to Kiama via the tourist drive. It is beautiful, it is green, it's wonderful. So Kiama's 10 kilometres ahead. So I'm taking the long I'm taking the long way, that's for sure, but enjoying every moment of the along the way. We also need to understand and to appreciate for all those people who are successful, for for all those people who made money out of Bitcoin, for all those people who made money out of various businesses, there's also a stack of people, a lot of people who have failed along the way. So it's not all beer and skittles. You've got to understand that life is random, but you need to chance your hand. You need to be in it to win it, but to know that success is not in any way, shape or form, that success is not... Oh, there's some horse riding here, how beautiful. Let me just go down there. Just go down there for a drive so you can see the horse along the road. So what we're saying is that success is not in any way, shape or form an entitlement. Just because you did what you did, just because you've worked hard, just because you've given it your all, doesn't mean that you deserve to be successful and deserve to have all the fruits that come the way of other people. Anyway, I feel as if I'm in... check out this view. Check out this view. I feel that I'm in Switzerland. I don't know where I am at the moment, but I think that could be the Minamara rainforest. But look at that. Look at those houses perched up there on that hill, in that mountain. Just absolutely beautiful. Geez, I'll be coming back here again. There you go. It just goes to show you that life is random, and I've just randomly gotten in the car and come for a drive, and I'm discovering these places here that would be tremendous for those who are just looking to take it easy or to come away for a weekend. But the people here just riding their horse, just going for a little ride on this wonderful day. So the author here finishes up by saying that you don't know an idea is going to work unless you give it a go. You don't know if a relationship is going to work unless you risk everything and have a go. Which leads me to the point that we need to be careful and discerning with the relationships that we get ourselves into. And I remember years ago there was a friend, an uncle of Michael Bardo, or Theos Michalis, Uncle Michael, who would always say, be careful of the people you date. Make sure that the person that you date is a person that you consider marrying. Because what happens is that one thing leads to another, and you end up dating somebody who you don't intend to marry, but you'll end up getting used to them. They'll get used to you. You'll get used to them. They'll get used to you, and before you know it, the fact that you've gotten used to each other leads to other things, and you may end up marrying somebody who once again didn't tick all of your boxes, but because you've been around them for a little while, ticked a couple of your boxes. Not your ideal partner, not the sort of person you want to spend the rest of your life with, but you end up settling for second best, and you end up hating yourself for the rest of your life and living unfulfilled. So some wise words from Theo Michali, words that I guess people take offence to, but it's only when you get older in life and you see the pain and suffering that has been caused by people who have been unfulfilled in their relationships, who end up divorcing and causing problems not only for themselves but for their children and other people around them, that you realise that the importance of marrying and being with the right person is critical, the most important decision you'll ever get to make in your life. So it's important to court randomness, but to be cautious with what you're courting, to make sure that you're getting caught up with the right the right challenge, I should say. And to know that you need to risk, and you need to risk a lot, but to know that when you're risking everything, you're risking everything. And if you don't make it work, or if it doesn't work, you're going to be left with nothing. So you need to be prepared physically, emotionally, financially, and you need to be prepared to pay that price, and not to go through life being naive and expecting life to hand you everything, to be the person who goes from mail boy to chairman of the board, or to be a person who grew up in a broken family in a housing commission and end up being Prime Minister of the greatest nation of the world. You know, these things happen, and they happen randomly, and not everybody can do an Anthony Albanese, but to respect the fact that he's done it will give him a chance to prove himself, but to know that tough times are coming ahead for each and every one of us, and to be discerning and cautious with the decisions that we end up making, knowing very well that Labor, an untested Labor government going into a testing time, is going to put everything that we've worked hard to get at risk. Anyway, take care. A fairly long vlog, but I've appreciated doing it because I've learned something new, and I've been able to express something that I feel strongly about, and found a beautiful road to drive along. Yassas, take care, and we'll chat again on this emergingly beautiful day on the Sunday, the first day after the election and the day before the Labor Party hopefully can form government, because I'd hate to think that they're a minority government and we're at the mercy of the Greens and the Teal Independents, and that would be ugly. That would be really, really ugly. Take care from the green pastures of the south coast of New South Wales. A beautiful, beautiful place, and I hope you've enjoyed this vicarious journey that we've been able to enjoy, able to take, and to chat again later on from a different place where we can highlight and showcase the beauty of this land, the beauty of this country, and overlay it with a message of empowerment. Yassas, and bye for now.